Welcome to HerWorth by Design, the podcast for girls and young women, becoming rooted in worth, clear in identity, and strong in purpose. My name is Praisy, and I'm so glad you're here. Have you ever stood in front of the mirror and silently asked yourself, who am I? Maybe growing up, you struggled with your name, your tribe, your background, your race, the school you attended, or the financial status of your family. Or maybe your identity slowly became tied to your struggles. The girl who failed, the girl who gained weight, the girl with a very small voice, the girl without a job, the girl who got hurt, the girl who made a bad decision, the girl who ended the wrong relationship. And after hearing those labels long enough, you started believing them. But sis, hear me today. Your struggle may be part of your story, but it's not your identity. Identity is one of the most important parts of being human. It shapes how we see ourselves, how we interact with others, and how we live our lives. But many girls and young women are trying to discover who they are from people, relationships, achievements, social media validation, trends, or even painful experiences. And the danger is this: when you allow temporal things to define you, you become unstable because those things change. People change, feelings change, relationships change, status changes, but God never changes. Your identity is not your mistakes, it is not your past, it is not your failures, it is not your appearance, it is not what people whisper about you. Your identity is who God says you are. God, your creator, already defined you before anyone else had an opinion about you. You were created intentionally, loved before you took your first breath, chosen with purpose, designed uniquely. Even your weaknesses and limitations can become platforms for God's strength to shine. The enemy constantly tries to remind us of everything we are not. Not beautiful enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough, not righteous enough. And when we keep listening to those lies, we slowly adopt them as our identity. But God's truth says, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are loved, you're valuable, you're chosen, you are enough in Christ. I remember trying to find my identity in people and achievements. I thought maybe if I succeeded more, people will value me more. Maybe if I looked a certain way, I would finally feel confident. Maybe if certain people accepted me, I'll finally feel worthy. But instead of peace, it brought confusion and frustration. Because when you build identity in temporal things, you start becoming someone God never created you to be. The shift happened when I realized God had already defined me. I stopped asking the world for permission to feel valuable. And maybe that's the shift you need today too. You don't need to earn your worth. You don't need to improve your value. You don't need to shrink yourself to fit in. A girl who knows identity works differently. She stops chasing validation. She becomes more confident in her decisions. She gains wisdom about the relationships she entertains. She learns to let go of things that doesn't align who God created her to be. Because when your identity is anchored in God's truth, your life begins to reflect His purpose. This week, I want you to do something practical. Identify the labels you have accepted. Write them down honestly. Maybe it is, I always fail. Nobody chooses me. I'm behind in life. I'm damaged. I'm too much. I'm not beautiful. Now ask yourself, did God ever call me that? Number two, replace every lie with truth. Instead of saying, I am rejected, say, I am loved by God. Instead of, I am a mistake, say, I was created on purpose. Instead of, I have no value, say, my worth comes from God. Number three, guard what shapes your identity. Be careful what voices you constantly consume. Negative environments, false comparisons, or toxic friendships. Because whatever you repeatedly listen to will eventually shape how you see yourself. And 4, spend time with the one who created you. Because the closer you grow to God, the clearer your identity becomes. If this message spoke to you today, share it with another girl or young woman who needs this reminder. You're more than what happened to you. And before you leave, I want you to say this aloud. I'm not defined by my past, my pain, or people's opinion. I'm who God says I am. Remember this, sis. The world may label you, but only God defines you. See you in the next episode.